I wanted to bring you a deck profile today. I went 4-1 at locals and got second place with Spirals. It's basically Spiral Sleeper Turbo with Kaiju and some Predaplant. So without further ado, let me get into the profile here. So let's start with the main deck. So I'm actually running 2 Sleeper. I know most people just run 1, but it's a nice comeback card. If you grind through your opponent's resources and they take out your first Sleeper, mid to late game, if you bring out a second and can still equip it with a Spiral Gear Last Resort, you're really in good shape at that point. And usually you still have enough resources in the grave to summon a second one, so that's why I'm running 2. This is a 41 card deck, by the way. Running triple Quick Fix because he is amazing. He's really the whole reason you can turbo out a Sleeper first turn pretty consistently. And I'll show you guys a couple of combos with him and Instant Fusion or Gofu. So 3 of those. 3 Super Agent. He's still really good. 1900 beater, and he can bait out a lot of disruption. Like if you special him and then try to pop something and they bottomless him or solemn him, then that's one less resource that they have, and you can usually keep going even if he gets negated or sent to the grave. And then the rest of the Spirals, I'm running 1 drone. I know a lot of people run more than one of him, or it rather, but you really only need 1. You don't really use him for his tribute effect. Usually you just use him to brick your opponent. If you can get him out first turn, it's nice to set up the top card and to summon out a Super Agent, get a guaranteed on the first turn. But other than that, he's really just fodder for Sleeper or getting your Super Agent back. As far as the Predaplants, I am running 2 Spiral Gear Last Resorts as well, because this card just makes Sleeper broken because it's a destroy 2 every turn until they address it. So they really have to put in a lot of work to get rid of your Sleeper if this is equipped and you've got Resort on the table. Okay, so that's it for the Spirals. We're running 3 of the Predaplant Scorpio and then 1 of the Predaplant Cobra. This is just so, first turn you can get a hold of your Instant Fusion and you can get a Super Agent out. I'm not sure that I'm going to keep this in. It's kind of bad to use up your normal summon because the major combo to get out Sleeper the first turn and equip it with Last Resort relies on you normal summoning your Quick Fix. Unless you draw Upstart, or 1-for-1. So that might be dropped in the future, but that's what I was running. And then as far as the Kaijus, I am running 1 Thunder King, 1 Gamecill, 1 Kamungus, and 1 Jizukuru. Pretty standard lineup. I am running 2 of the Kaiju Slumbers with that, which, it's really necessary when you're going up against a Zodiac deck to be able to clear their board and or, tribute away some of their monsters. The only game that I lost was to True Draco, and I beat him first game and then lost the subsequent next 2. But it was nice to be able to out Masterpiece. I was able to Kaiju Slumber him for game when he had Masterpiece on board. I top decked a Kaiju Slumber and got game with that. So this is pretty necessary. I really like having it in the deck. It's not too bricky because it's not too many cards and there's so many searchers. It's really good. As far as other monsters I'm running, I've got 2 Gofu. You want to see him first turn, otherwise he's pretty much just garbage. So only running 2, but he's really good, and he's a combo enabler for your Sleeper combo. And then for hand traps, I'm running 1 Max C and then 2 Ghost Ogre. Max C is really nice for Zodiac and the True King dinos. Usually it's a side out card for a lot of other decks, but it put in a lot of work against Zoo and Dino, so I definitely continue to main deck it. And then the Ghost Ogres are always awesome. Okay, and so as far as spells go, we're running 2 of the big red. I don't think 3 is necessary since you can search it so easily, and you're not using it very much, so just 2 of those. And then we're running 1 machine dupe. I don't think you need more than 1. You're not going to use it more than once. It's nice to have first turn, but you don't want to draw 1 late game. It's not a good top deck. Running 3 terraforming and 3 spiral resort, because you have to get to spiral resort. Like, this card is just amazing. Without it, you're in a lot of trouble. 1 for 1. I wish I could run more than 1 of these, but it is what it is. It's great for getting out quick fix. 2 instant fusions. I was running 3, but I felt like that was too much. You really only need 2, especially if you're searching it with the Predaplants. That's it for spells. And then we've got traps, 2 Solemn Strike, and a Spiral Gear Utility Wire. The Solemn Strikes are great. Side them out some of the time depending on your matchup. Utility Wire is also awesome for bouncing stuff back on top of the deck. Against true Dracos, it's nice to bounce their field spell back if you don't have another way to get rid of it, because it slows them down for a turn. So it's a pretty good card as well to be running. So that's the main deck. Side deck, we're running 1 Sea Monster of Theseus, which is really important for the combo for the first turn sleeper. So definitely a must. I'm running 1 Norden, which obviously is going to be banned in the future. So we're going to take him out and replace him with Thousand Eyes Restrict. Because you can instant into Thousand Eyes Restrict, and then if it's your first turn, usually you can use that to sync with Gofu, or you can overlay for Princess Sprite. So definitely, that's a change that I'm going to make because of the ban list. That's probably the only change I'll make, because of the ban list. I'm running 2 Sylvan Princess Sprite. This card is amazing for the deck. A lot of times you can thin out your deck and then use it to try to draw into your terraforming or spiral resort if you don't have it. It's just really nice to be able to get that extra draw, or sometimes obviously it sends something to the grave, but a lot of times you don't need to draw whatever it sends anyway. So it's a really great thing to just keep your hand fueled. 1 MX Saber Invoker, obviously for the Predaplant engine, so that you can get out Super Agent. I'm running the full Utopia package, so Utopia and then both S39s. It's nice to be able to get this out and attack with it and be able to defend it, so they usually have to take it out some other way other than using just attacking over it with something that's greater than 25k. I definitely like this having 3. It obviously takes up an extra spot, but it's really good to have. 1 Dullahan, it's a good way to keep recycling your quick fixes, because you can send them to the grave by detaching and then summon it back and you get another search. So or you can use it as disruption on your opponent's turn if they're trying to attack. It's just one more thing that they have to deal with. 1 Castell, which I have never used, but it's such a great utility card, you kind of have to have it. 1 Dweller, which is great against the dinos and against True Draco as well, so definitely necessary. That's it for the Exceeds. And then I'm running 1 Ancient Fairy Dragon, which this card is awesome in the deck. Again, it's another piece of the combo, so you have to have it. 1 Stardust, 1 Naturia Beast, and 1 Coral Dragon. I know with the main deck I can't actually summon Naturia Beast, but it is it's possible to summon with the side deck. Didn't want to have to main a glow up bulb. So that's it. So let me show you guys the major combo that we've got in order to get to your sleeper first turn. So what you need is either a fusion, an instant fusion, or Gofu, and either Spiral Resort or Terraforming. Once you've got, if you have both of these, you're set. So let's just assume we've got Resort and Instant Fusion. So you're going to play your Resort. You're going to search for Quick Fix. You're going to normal Quick Fix. You're going to add Big Red. You're going to play Instant Fusion and use that to get out Sea Monster of Theseus. Then you're going to sink for Coral Dragon. You're going to play your Big Red that you just searched, and you're going to bring out a second Quick Fix. Then you're going to sink again for Ancient Fairy Dragon. And that is going to net you a draw. You know, who knows what it's going to be, but obviously it's an extra card in your hand, which is pretty awesome. You're going to then use Ancient Fairy Dragon to destroy Resort, to search a second Resort, play that Resort, and use that to search for a sleeper. And one thing that I forgot to note is when you special Quick Fix the second time with Big Red, you're also going to search for a last Resort so that you can equip it to Sleeper. So now you've got Sleeper equipped with Last Resort on the field. You've got Spiral Resort, so they can't target either of these cards until they deal with Resort. And you've got an Ancient Fairy Dragon. And if you happen to have, you're obviously going to still have 4 more cards to use. So you can a lot of times go into a Princess Sprite and get a Super Agent on the field. So there's still a lot of other possibilities to continue to extend your first turn play to get a really good board. But this alone allows you to destroy 2 cards on their turn without really giving up any resources of your own. And, that can be extremely disruptive. If they set a couple in pass, you can destroy them in the end phase. If they're trying to combo off, like against Zoo, if they bring out, they're going to summon out a couple of monsters, you can deal with those monsters depending on how they summon them and just put their turn, to a halt. I did play 1 Zoo. I played 1 True King Dinosaur. I 2-0'd the Zoo and 2-1 against the Dino deck. I also played against Nekroz, which I 2-0'd, and then Dark Law Turbo, essentially, and I 2-0'd him as well. And then, like I said earlier, I lost to the True Draco deck. He was a really good player and definitely just kind of grinded me out. It's a really tough matchup for just about any deck in the format. So definitely had a lot of fun. It was nice to play against a decent amount of meta decks at a locals. And I think one of the reasons I did well is this: a lot of people don't know what all these cards do, and so it kind of surprises them when you play a Spiral card and they're like, oh, what do Spirals do? And all of a sudden you've got this huge board that can cause a lot of disruption. So there you have it. I think that's it. Shout out to Team Sanctum. I'm going to be sending this video over to them so they can upload it. Thanks a lot.